We had the honor of having with us Dr. Bright Enabulele, Edo State Accord Party candidate. He happens to be the CEO of Odua Coin, the first Pan-African cryptocurrency. Live here in our Benin Network Center is Dr. Bright Enabulele. Good to see you. Good evening.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be in your studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you look awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Walk us through.
Thank you.
Politics is not a joke.
Well,
Accord Party, I think this is the first time we'll be having the party.
Candidate.
You are the candidate.
Yes.
But this is the first time, as a party, this is the first time we are having the party do a little bit of shake-up in Edo political landscape. What are your expectations?
Well, democracy make provision for that. We can no longer wait to run a government of the few, where people alternate power. There's an outcry in our state. There's erosion in our state between the citizens and the government. The people are complaining. They want something different. And so for me, I believe it's the best time to give people an option. Democracy allows option.
Okay.
That's why we have many parties. These parties are there for reasons. They are not just there for show. They are there to also compare other parties to say, look, if you cannot govern our people correctly, allow the knowledgeable to rule. That's what I'm
If you actually talked about doing something differently,
yes.
What will you bring to the table? Edolites are tired of hearing things that might not really see the light of the day. Actions is what we want now.
When you look at the state,
So,
when you look at the state, you can tell from the revenue of the state.
okay.
The state has so much revenue, 70 billion. Look at our debt. It's going to almost $1 trillion. I remember back in the days when the states, when there was OPEC, we were almost number 1 or 10 on the oil production. The state was still stagnant. Now we're moving to green energy. So there must be an alternative ways of doing things in our state. I don't say that the governments are not doing correctly, but the people are saying we want to move the state forward. There's hunger in our state. There's hunger in our state. In Edo State, there's hunger.
Okay.
A state where food is more expensive than housing. And we have agriculture. First of all, we have to go back to basis. So let's look at holistic way of doing things. Let's go back to agriculture. We have to look at the gift. It's the gift of life for us. Our people are no longer interested because they complain there's no food. We are one of the largest arable land in the world. And today we look at other countries like Bangladesh, Malaysia. We should be able to compete with them. We sit right there at the Atlantic. We should be able to ship our cocoa, our timber, our rubber, our corn. You see what is going on in the world today. Ukraine is coming to us and say, want to give us food, bring us grains. We are not in war. Why can't we engage our land? You think Ukraine is going to bring us grain and they will take it, they will give it us for free? They're going to use our land as virtual farming and take it away when they're done. We must be very smart. You know, knowing other people's race is intelligent, but knowing your own race is wisdom. And the people are complaining that there's no food. For me, apart from just the food, let's look at social issues. Social issues are just like water, power, good roads. These are the things that the citizens just want. When you start hearing the name of a governor, you know there's a problem. You know, that Western world, people don't even know who's their governor because those social things are there. You know, we're lying down here in a very beautiful sun. We start looking at alternative energy, like solar power. We engage. We're in 21st century. We must not, if we don't adapt, we die. We must start looking at the world is going to a digital revolution. We shall be a pioneer. My goal is to engage our youth. I'm a champion in the economic job creation. Look at blockchain. Blockchain technology is changing the way money moves to the world today. That can always help us cutting edge, where we can look at all this wasteful spending, you know, mismanagement of funds. You know, corruptions within the government.
Okay, so let's now see, what will you now do to tackle security? Because insecurity seems to be something that is overwhelming, even the security architecture we have. Just of recent, we lost some policemen that were actually responding to a rescue mission. We lost soldiers at a Kwama community in Delta State. Edo State is not different because we also have our own differences as far as insecurity is concerned. If given the opportunity to be in Osadebe Avenue, what will you do differently in terms of security issue?
Why is there insecurity in our state? There's hardship. An hungry man is an angry man. An angry man is a dangerous man. A child that cannot provide, they don't know where the food is coming, you want to tell him to stay in the home, it's not going to stay there. We must look at a holistic approach in looking at our people. A man that can afford 3 square meals a day, would he want to go and fight? Well, he has no business fighting. He has no business stealing. You see our children are robbing, doing all those things, because it's the job of the government to provide jobs for the people. It's a responsibility. Government is not just security alone. Jobs. When people are happy, the city is secured. When people are not happy, there's erosion. So we start talking about insecurity, you start looking at why people are insecure. We have to look at jobs creation. What's the ratio of jobs creation in our state? Very low. People are running out of our states. They're going to Lagos, they're going to Abuja. You see a young man telling me I'm living in Ghana. What's the problem? They believe that there's no provision for them. At least the state should be looking at social issues, social welfare. In the Western world, the government knows that everybody cannot just have a job. But every month, there's what they call food stamps. They give the people at least food that will contain them. If not, they will be deployable. You cannot call a man that have eaten 3 square meals to go and fight. He will not listen to you. At least 1 square meal. So when you go down to the basis of this problem, you just have
So are you saying your government, if given the opportunity to be in the government house, will provide food for everyone?
Listen, we cannot just, depends on the income bracket. Some people have jobs.
Okay.
Everybody's not the same. We have to close the disparities. Somebody that is making 5,000 or 70,000 naira a month, and somebody that is making 10,000 naira a month, are they the same? No. The governments must look at holistic way of looking at things. Let's go back to agriculture. For me, it's all about wealth distribution.
Okay.
We empower the farmers. We look at value chain supply. For example, every day the farmers are bringing foods. Imagine we have our own warehouse, food storage, where we can buy directly from the farmers. Every farmer knows that once they have cocoa,
From the government?
No, to the government. Once you know that you have cocoa, somebody's going to buy from you. Everybody go back to the farm. And the government can now go back and say, get that cocoa at old price, and say to the public, can now do food subsidies. The ones that, the profit that you get, give it to the needies. Help people that say, you know what, every month, this family, at least they can have 1 bag of gari every month. We must look at public services. Our state is so fortunate. Let me put it that way. We have a land that has not been cultivated. When you look at the land of Edo, there's corn growing everywhere. There's cassava. To the point now people are using cassava to make bread. So when you start talking about insecurity, insecurity starts from hardship. The people are hungry. They are looking for government that can put food in their hand. And it starts from job creations, agricultural empowerments, and we start looking at food subsidies. We start looking at food storage, where we know that if there's war today, there's no one food storage that can take off us for 24 hours. Is that a government we want? It's a global issue. 32 million people, even in the country, are dying, to the point that the foreign countries are telling us, let's send them grains. My question is, are we at war? Are we at war in Edo?
We are not.
So what is the problem of engaging our people?
Okay, let's now look at it this way. Politics has to do with money. You need money to do politics. You need enough money to run for the office of the governor. Accord Party, do you think you have the capacity to battle the soul for Sadebe Avenue? Do you think so?
Where does that money go? What do you do? What do you use the money for? To bribe people to vote for you? And tell them that I've given you Gary, and in the next 4 years they have to wait again? What do you use the money to do?
So you think money is not
it's
relevant?
Important.
Money is not important.
But most of those money that you're looking at is wasteful. Because for me, I believe that the people should have a voice. They're going to the poll to vote. Are you giving them the money to vote, or are you giving them the money to campaign? Of course, Accord is ready to compete in the election. We are not here. We are in social medias. We have our grassroots promotions from the 3 local senatorial districts, whether it's Edo Central, Edo North, Edo South. Of course, you can't go into these races and not prepared. We are prepared. But when somebody starts saying, oh, it's all money, it's not about money. We have to let people, what are we going to do for them? Every 4 years, we recycle our government, and there's no changes. Do you want to run the government of the popular, or you want to run the government of the few? That's my questions. The people are complaining and saying, every 4 years you are coming to our villages to campaign about politics. Then after 4 years, what happened? There must be a change. Edo State, there's going to be a new era in Edo State. I am not popularly saying that this government is bad. I'm not running the politics of redress or retribution, or saying that Obaseki regime is bad, or Shomole, or... I'm looking at democracy. When the Western nation gave us democracy, they failed to realize that on the beacon of democracy, there's rule of law. We must reestablish the rule of law in our country. That he that creates the law, he that interprets the law, he that enforces the law, must obey the law. And we miss that space, there's going to be insecurity in our land. We have to look at our police, who's protecting us every day. We must be able to have police estate housing, our education. See, the people that matters in our state, if they are happy, you will see insecurity will be low. You will see that there will not be killings in our state, no insurgents. But when the people that are supposed to protect your state, they are not happy, most of those revenue will be wasted revenue. Imagine we're looking at our traffic, our car taxes. The government impose taxes. Those are source of revenue. When you look at our internal generated revenue, it's only 70 billion every year. We have to increase that. We have to engage people correctly. We have to make sure that those people that are working for us, those that are enforcing the law, those that are interpreting the law, and also those that create the law, must obey the law. The problem here is you cannot prioritize civil rights over human rights. Okay. The people say, look, the government don't care about us. Why should we respect the government? We cannot run a democracy of hardship. We cannot run a democracy of holding the people tight. You cannot force democracy on anyone. It becomes anarchy. This election is all about allow the people to exercise their rights.
Now, you are from Edo South.
Yes.
How do you plan to have an all-inclusive government carrying Edo North and Edo Central along so that there will not be disconnection? Because the current governor, who is of the PDP, he's from Edo South. You are from Edo South. So why still have an Edo South man running for the #1 seat when you have other senatorial districts? And if peradventure you get there, what are your plans to carry this other senatorial district along? Dr. Bright.
So we have to bring our people together. First of all, I'm not PDP. PDP have never been in the state house. I'm not APC. So we're talking about one inclusive government. Let's go back to the era of Abu Saleh. I want to run a manifesto of Abu Saleh that was abandoned 41 years ago. There was no segregation. Abu Saleh said education for all, food, equality for everyone. We have just 4.8 million people. Edo State is small, running on a land span of almost 7.8, 7.5 square miles. It's colorful place. This is diversity. We should use that opportunity to promote tourism from people from Afuze, Onwan local government, Akoko Edo, Orioma. It's one Edo State. When people want to mess with your mind, they start doing division. We are not going to run a politics of segregations. We have to bring our people together. We must unite our land. It's very important. I see when I was in the time growing up, I enjoyed the legacy of Abu Saleh. It was free education. We go to school and eat food. People want to go to school. We must prioritize early childhood education because the leaders today is how you set up the education reform that's going to change them. Let me tell you one thing. It's one Edo State. I have never grew up before and knew we have divided Bender State. Do you want to divide Edo State again? No. This was a former Midwest nation, the heartbeat of the nation. When we start running a politics of segregations and calling one ethnicity or another ethnicity, then we start looking at confusion in our state. That means people are proud. They are taking advantage of the vulnerables. Our people are vulnerables. My government will protect the vulnerables, where every Edo citizens, both the sons and daughters of Edo, will attain their full potentials. We must make sure that our education reforms, at least to the elementary level. We must look at food. We must go back to our agriculture. We must look at our social issues like water, power, sustainable power, renewable power. We must look at our roads. What is the problem? A good governance understand that the problem in Edo State is beyond academia. We need someone that has holistic approach, that values our heritage. All this Edo South, Edo Central, Edo North, that's our heritage. And find a holistic way in navigating the complexity of governance in our state. What are the people asking for the past 20 years? When there's no light, give us light. When there's no water, give us water. When the roads are bad, give us good road. Is that to ask? But
some of these basic amenities are things anyone can afford. People have boreholes in their houses. People are already giving themselves alternative power supply.
Then why do you need the government?
That's the question.
Why do you need the government?
So what would the government do differently? What would the government do differently?
Listen, our children are dying.
What will your government do differently?
Our children are dying of cholera. 14,000 every year. You're looking at those waters, they are not even treated. Every home is generated. Carbon monoxide diseases. We're having unexpected, our mortality rate is going high. We have to go back and look at the basics. Edo State is not Germany. Edo State is not China. What works in China might not work here. But being a man that I've traveled around the world today, that I've enjoyed the beauty of Western world, that I've never had interrupted power supply, water failure. First of all, you cannot give what you don't have.
That's true.
You know, I have been exposed to see, to hear, to do. If a man don't have swimming pool and you want him to give you swimming pool, you're going to be in trouble.
So you're saying your government will provide clean water?
Of course.
For Edolites?
Of course. We have water in Atlantic there. We must go back to a holistic way. Allow the people to, if you cannot provide water and electricity, let's go back to solar energy. We have 24 hours sun. Even I went to Jamaica. They have solar energy right now. We must move on Edo State. We must move from humanisms to dataisms, a government of transformation. If we don't understand that, we're going to die. The world is moving to AI. Let's engage our youth where they can work from here. Let's go back to China, India, and Bangladesh. Most of the jobs in America have been done in India. They don't travel from their home. Why don't we give our children opportunity? Give them a true education where they can sit here in Edo and work for a company in Silicon Valley. That's the power we're looking for. Where they can sit here and become that virtual office. We train them holistic approach, train them in that true education, not education that will destroy our state. What is true education? It's beyond the classroom. Education is someone that understands human divinity. That wisdom is important to govern the people. It comes about leadership. For example, not everybody can have a job. First of all, I've been traveling around. It was just rain today. Believe me, it was not even up to 10 minutes. The whole place is flooded. You know what? The government has tried. You cannot.
And you think you can do better?
Of course. I have traveled around the world.
So what will you do to arrest flooding and bad roads in the state?
The campaign.
It seems to be one of the problems we have.
You cannot have a road without good drainage.
Okay.
You must come back and look at, come up with a comprehensive plan. Look at the landmark of the state. Look at our drainage system. And see, okay, if I'm constructing a road and there's no drainage, what do you expect to happen? It's like somebody says, you know what, I'm going to give you a farm, but every time I'm going to plant some weed around your farm. Do you think the corn will grow?
That's what it means.
So listen, I'm not here to unveil everything on my manifesto. The election has not started.
Fine, sure. But we've heard people.
Let me say, listen, you see, we have to make Edo State attractive again.
Okay.
We need international relationship. We must work with foreign companies. Look at Ukraine. Americans are working with Ukraine because they know that they need Ukraine. Imagine we are the #1 production of maize. Don't you think there are going to be a lot of foreign companies in our state?
Dr. Bright, Dr. Bright.
Thank you.
There's a concern.
Yes.
It's a personal concern. It happens to resonate with every right-thinking Edolite that is watching now.
Yes.
We've heard people talk beautifully like this. Fantastic analysis, how they will change the narrative when they get to office. But it's like there's one spirit in the government house that overpowered them. And when they get there, reverses the case.
Well, I am now running the government of Gofordarism. Nobody gave me money to run this election.
You're not going to be settling anybody up.
I'm not settling anybody up. The money, the revenue should go to the state. We have wasteful spending. If we put all those resources together, we should be able to give Edolite food. I'll be honest with you. We have mismanagement of offices. A work that 3 people can do, you just put somebody there. For me, I'm not here to say much, but I am the CEO of Udowa Coin. My goal is to create a digital revolution, a blockchain where our state can become powerful. The diaspora want to come home. They are scared. I'm not going to do this alone. We got to invite all the brain bank because we have so much forceful labors, forced labor in our children. There's mass immigrations. Our children are running out of our state because they no longer see it attractive, because they think that there's no infrastructure for them. Our youth, our government must protect our youth. Let our youth start investing in our state. Not when you have 4 million naira, you are running to Abuja, you are running to Eko, you are running to Ghana. This is a beautiful state. If we start, it's all about revenue creation. First of all, we have to prioritize our revenue. How do we get money from the state? But that will never happen if we cannot establish the rule of law, because that's the foundation of democracy. Some of these lawyers are on this same platform with us, they understand what I'm talking about.
So finally, Dr. Bright, how do you plan to bridge the gap between those at the grassroots and the urban setting?
Well, first of all, government is not just, there are three types of government. We have the federal, we have the state, we have the local. We must have a correlation with those people. They are there for a reason. That if office are not caretakers, we must engage them. In my government, if you are not ready to be in that position, you must give up your office. Very simple. Because we must rebuild Edo State again. The city councils and the local government chairman, they are there for a reason. The state governments are also there for a reason. So the key here is we must bring democracy to the grassroots of the people. Okay. Whether you are in the most remote place of the state, it's one of those states. So what everybody's thinking is just about the governor. No, there's a budget for the state. There's a budget for the local government. We must engage them correctly.
So we're going to see a higher and firing government.
Oh man, listen.
If you are not delivering,
you're out.
You're out.
Of course.
No, it doesn't matter how
government is a public service. You are a servant to the people.
Okay.
If you cannot do what you're supposed to do, they should vote you out.
But to an extent, politics seems to be a kind of game of reward. You reward those that have worked for you, you reward friends, you reward associates, you reward family members. Is it going to be the same thing with you?
Not in my government. It's going to be a structural change. It's going to be a new era in those states. First of all, I want to tell everybody on this media, I'm an Edolite. We must move Edo State forward. If you are one of those that think that the government will not change or the state will not move forward, well, you will become enemy of God. You also become enemy of the palace. God bless you.
The final word before we let you go now, Dr. Bright. We have those persons, we have some persons that are not really from Edo State, but they reside here. But their fear over the years have been that they are not really carried along.
We are going to run a government of inclusion. It's one Edo.
Okay.
That separation is bad.
In as much as you are in the state.
Matter of fact, every sons and daughters of my state belongs to me. It's our people. Whether you are from the north or south or central, we must come together. We must promote tourism. Because what you will see in Ekpoma, what you will see in Uriomo, Akoko Edo is different. We must have the people coming here. We have one of the biggest national game reserve, Okomu. We must empower that place.
Okay.
Because tourism is money. The monarchy is there. We must create a coalition between the state and the monarchy. We must expand the Edo State.
Quickly.
There is no one child of Edo State that will not be a part of this government.
Quickly, taxing. Tax seems to be choking an average salesperson.
Yes.
The current government, actually, some persons are saying the rates at which the government tax business owners is out of place, is outrageous. Are we going to see a continuity from you?
Of course, I have to look at, first of all, I have to look at, I'm not going to say so much, I have to look at what's the book. There are going to be tax implications, depends on what you make. And also we're going to look at all the areas. Tax is very important, but we are not going to raise tax on the poor.
Outrageous.
Oh, no, because we are not going to put, you see, there's so much hardship in it.
To sell pure water in the market, you need to have an association. First of all, in the market, you need to have an association.
First of all, we must provide health for our people.
Okay.
All those street sellings and prisoners, we must create a place for them to be able to sell correctly. When the market people are happy, paying their taxes will not be a problem. Not being on the street, and not rains are beating them, snow is beating them, sun is beating them. No. We must look at, first of all, when the people are happy, it's not going to be hard to send money. Okay. So first of all, make the environment conducive. Allow Edo State to be attractive. Let people, we want diaspora. We want those from the Caribbean. I have a farmland. In Ogwa. I wanted to create a diaspora city, because I know that our brothers and sisters that were formerly enslaved, when they come back to our state, they have the knowledge.
Okay.
You know, DNA has memories. Let them come to us and rebuild our state together.
But we would like to have you again and again. Okay, thank you everyone. This is how far we can go on the show. But Dr. Bright Enabulele is actually excited and is ready to hit the ground running. Probably that was
from day one.
From day one. From the studio.
From the studio.
All right, we'll be seeing you on the next one. My name is Daniel Praise.
God bless it. God bless Edo people. God bless you all.